Well, welcome back, everybody, to week 2 of your group. I hope you're off to an amazing start with each other and with your own study in this letter of Philippians. So, a couple of reminders as we jump in. This is a letter written by a follower of Jesus named Paul, who probably some 10 years earlier met some people in the city of Philippi, shared the gospel of Jesus, baptized many of them, and the new church began. Now, they have a fantastic, supportive, encouraging, loving, and mutual relationship. Even though Paul writes this letter to them while he's in prison, most likely in Rome, for preaching the gospel. And if you say, well, how does that get you in prison? Just understand that in a world and a culture that claims Caesar is Lord, it's quite offensive to turn around and say, well, no, actually, Jesus is Lord. And that's actually where we began in week 1. Right in the middle of chapter 2, verses 5 through 11, and I have suggested from the beginning that passage is the glue, essentially, that holds everything else together. If you need to, you might want to go back to review that, or at least talk through it together and make sure you have a grasp on it. It is a section that talks about what we call the incarnation, or Jesus leaving his position in heaven as God, coming to earth as a man, taking the form of a servant. He humbled himself to the point that he then goes to crucifixion, right? The lowest he can go in this world. And then we saw this phrase, for this reason, where we get the name of our series. For this reason, God exalted him to the highest place, gave him the name above all names, and someday every knee will bow, every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. That, friends, is what we mean by the gospel. Today, we're going to go back to the beginning of the letter because with that foundation, we're going to have a better understanding of how Paul begins. And he's so grateful and thankful for these people. And in verse 5, he gives the very reason, because of your partnership in the gospel. Now, partnership is a really important word. It's the Greek word koinonia. And koinonia is this amazing thing that has the elements of friendship and mission. It's not just that you have a friend and you hang out together and have coffee or go to the movies, but you are friends because you have the same goals and objectives in mind. You might think about marriage as a partnership, or a business venture, a team you've been a part of, a boat that you've deployed on, where you are able to have a deeper level of relationship because you have a common goal in mind. As a matter of fact, it is the mission that you share that causes you to have this kind of koinonia relationship. In this case, Paul and all of the believers at the church in Philippi were partners, right? We have a special relationship that's built around a mission, and that is the gospel. There's something about believing the same thing and wanting to see that other people have the same opportunity that Paul gave them to hear it, to respond to it, right? They're partners in the gospel. Now, just a little quick plug here for a class that we call partnership. You know, instead of having members at Christ Church, we have partners. And we chose that based on this passage right here. We're looking for people that not only can we be in a relationship with, but that relationship is strengthened by the mission that we share. In our case, to reach every man, woman, and child who lives in Camden County with the gospel of Jesus. The next partnership class is on Sunday morning, February the 12th. How amazing is that, right? You can go to the first worship service, go to partnership class in the second service. As a matter of fact, there's a VIP lunch that day as well, if you're relatively new, that you can go to. And then we can all sit around later and watch the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So that's February 12th, and you can sign up in the app. Now, I want to be clear that in our partnership class, we talk about the mission of Jesus first, which is the gospel, and specifically how we're trying to see that accomplished here at Christ Church. All we ask you to do at the end of that class is to say, you know what, I want to see that happen here where I live. And you're willing to commit to taking your next step to be a part of it, you can become a partner. So when we speak about partnership in the gospel, Paul runs that theme throughout this entire letter. And we're actually going to uncover this stuff together as a group. Instances where he's grateful for all of the people being partners, and instances where he lists people by specific name, thankful for and honoring their contribution. And I'm excited for you to uncover together in your group the places in this letter that show us how people in the church practice partnership by doing things like embracing the same gospel message, serving, fighting for unity, and faithful generosity. So the question for you to answer tonight is, what does it look like to be a partner in the gospel? And what next step would I need to take to see that happen?